Yo, what's going on, people? This is Shallow here, and this is a video of my top 10 favorite RPGs of all time as of 2011. Now, I figured I'd get this video out right about now because I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on the latest gaming news, rants on more RPGs, and just general stuff like that. Might as well show you guys the foundation of pretty much what I base my judgment upon. So here we go, and here's number 10. So at number 10 we got Xenosaga 1, 2, and 3. Yes, I'm gonna put all three episodes as one game for this list. Because basically without playing the others you're not gonna get the story. You're not gonna get the story at all. Cause it's so goddamn convoluted. But ultimately it's a really good game. It has great graphics. Episode 2 kinda dropped the ball on pretty much everything, but it was picked up in episode 3 and pretty much won back the fans. At number 9, now this game would have been a little bit further up my list, but since I played it I think I played it in 2009, yeah, I was pretty late on playing this game, but nevertheless, it's an astounding game that I'm glad I didn't play when it first came out, and that's Xenogears. There's a heavy religion aspects to Xenogears, and the whole story is just phenomenal. It's really like you're playing an epic anime. And I highly recommend Xenogears to anyone who hasn't played it. If I had really gotten Xenogears when it first came out back in 98 or 99 or whatever, I would have never understood the story at all, and I probably would have never given it a chance. So at number 8, we got Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve is a really great RPG. The story is great. The battle system was very original, and everything about it was very memorable. The music, I love the music for Parasite Eve. I mean, I got most of the soundtrack on my iPod. Alright, moving on to number 7 here. We got Shadow Arts 2, which is Shadow Arts Covenant. Great game, great cast of characters, nice story. The battle system was very interesting with the time gauge. You had to land it on the right mark so your task could hit. Very, it was more involving than your average turn-based game. So at number 6 is Spouse to the Time. Story wise, it was decent. The graphics were okay, but the gameplay is where it really shines. The battle system is top notch. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you interested, and it kept me going through the whole game. Alright, so at number 5 is Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2, you guys should already know, it's an outstanding game. You can argue to death whether it's an RPG or a third-person shooter or not. I deem it RPG worthy. Mass Effect 2 is what JRPGs should try to follow. Not the shooting aspect wise, I'm talking about the story and how the character develop. I mean, these character quests are so involving. It makes me want to go and see really what the character is about, why are they this way, and all that stuff. And Mass Effect does it so well. The story in Mass Effect is rather cliche, I have to say. It's pretty much save the human race, which can pretty much be translated as almost in a JRPG is save the world. But it does it. The ride to the ending is so great, and the stuff that happens at the end of the game is so memorable that you have to be a fool not to like Mass Effect 2. That's just my opinion on that one. So, next up is number 4. So, at number 4 is Valkyria Chronicles. Valkyria Chronicles is a very interesting game. And the battle system and the combat unravels. It's just amazing. One of the most original games I ever seen this gen. Taking a shooting aspect and turning it into like a turn-based RPG, I suppose, and the characters develop throughout the game, and you get your own little special squadron and stuff. It's a really impressive game, and the graphics and shell shadedness is just unbelievably great. Yeah. So at number 4 is Shin Megami Tensei Persona 4. Ah, man, such an excellent game, solid gameplay, great battle system. The story was really what shined the most for me. It was a murder mystery. And it really kept you guessing until the end, except at a certain point it made it really obvious who the culprit was. But overall, great game, excellent soundtrack. I love the soundtrack to Persona 4. Great stuff. So moving on to number 2 We have Tales of the Abyss. Ah man, Tales of the Abyss is such a great game. I loved it so much that I tried to prolong from finishing it, actually doing all the side quests, getting all the skits, and all that. The characters are just so memorable. Jay is just awesome. Jay is just such an awesome character. If you ever seen House, that's basically who Jade is. He's a sarcastic prick, but he's so funny, and that was really one of the most shining points of the game. So moving on to number one. All right, so at number one, shouldn't really come as a surprise to anyone. Anyone viewing this list should know if it didn't come up by now, it's bound to be number one. And sorry for the rather cliche choice, but I really couldn't help it. Of course, it's got to be Final Fantasy VII. Now, I'm not going to tell you how awesome Final Fantasy VII is. We all know how awesome it is, or you just hate it, or whatever. But I'm going to say right now, Final Fantasy VII was my first RPG I ever played. And I remember the day I actually got the game because I couldn't have been no more than 10 or 11 years old. And I went to the mall with my mom and she was running errands or something like that. And she said if I was good, I can go to the game store and pick up any game I want. So I suppose at the end of the day, I was good. And I went to the game store and I looked at the PS1 wall. And I'm just looking at this game with a guy staring at the building with a big ass sword. And I'm just mesmerized by this game. I just couldn't. The cover for Final Fantasy VII isn't really much to look at, and I'm just looking at it. And I see it has three discs. It has three discs, and I'm just looking at it back and forward, and I'm like, I must have this game. Something came over me, and said I have to play this game. So immediately, I just go up to the register. I say I want this. I call my mom over, say I'm gonna get this game, and bam. And I played it. I was so addicted to the game. My mom actually had to take it away from me 2 weeks into me playing it, because I was just sitting at the screen just doing nothing. And at the time, I didn't know what an RPG was. So I'd say around when I got Midgar, I had no idea what to do. So I was just listen. Every time I turned the game on, I was just randomly fighting battles, and I was so overpowered. I think I was around level 30, and I shouldn't have been. I was just going around fighting enemies anytime I put in the game in. But needless to say, Final Fantasy is awesome. It is my favorite RPG of all time.